Hello and welcome to another video by My Working Capital, your soon-to-be one-stop shop for all things early careers and applications. In this video, we'll cover all things Spring Weeks, what they are and why they matter. So be sure to stick around to the end of the video to hear our top tips on how you can put your best foot forward when applying to such experiences. If you're new here to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications to make sure you never miss out on future videos. What are they? Spring Weeks are typically week-long experiences that normally take place over the Easter period. They aim to give students a better understanding of a particular firm or industry. The term Spring Week is predominantly used by firms within the financial services sector, but such experiences are not exclusive to just banks and asset management firms. These type of week-long experiences are available across many sectors, including law, consulting, insurance, professional services, and even consumer good companies like Unilever. Spring Weeks are typically aimed at students who are in the earlier stages of their university careers. A student who is in the first year of a 3-year course, or a student in the second of a 4-year course, for example. This is particularly important because Spring Weeks are one of the earliest opportunities for firms to build a pipeline of talent. There are many routes to securing a full-time role within finance. But in our opinion, the easiest route, especially for those who have decided to go to university, starts with trying to secure a place on a Spring Week or first year Insight program. Here's why. Students who wish to secure a prestigious graduate scheme role can apply for them once they are in their final year of university or upon graduation. However, at this stage in the game, competition is extremely fierce, and spaces on such programs have already largely been filled. A Spring Week is an opportunity to secure a place on a summer internship, thereby receiving the best and earliest chance of securing a full-time role months before applications are open to everyone else. A good performance on an 8 to 10 week long summer internship can result in candidates receiving a full-time offer up to a whole year in advance, but more on this in a future video. Spring Weeks, though often characterized as extremely down to luck, are genuinely less competitive than summer internships. This is typically because many students who start university know very little about them, or in other cases are not as interested in thinking about jobs and careers so early on. Nevertheless, Spring Weeks are important because firms typically fill their summer internship class with students who have participated on a spring program, and graduate schemes typically fill up their places with students who completed a summer internship. So though not always the case, it is clear to see that the earlier you engage with a prospective firm, whether through attending an Insight event or applying to programs early on in your university career, the easier it is to secure that coveted full-time analyst role. Now that you know what they are and why they're important, here's a little about the overall application process. The application process for a Spring Week or first year Insight program is an extension of the one covered in our Insight Days video. Insight Days are shortened versions of Spring Weeks in the sense that they are typically one-off experiences that can be very useful for networking or can boost your CV when it comes to making applications, so feel free to check out that video if you haven't already. Like with Insight Days, Spring Week programs typically involve a CV submission or a section where you answer questions centered around your motivations for applying to the firm or a given division. These questions are typically answered in the form of a cover letter. And the good news is that for some applicants, that's it for round 1. Some firms only require you to submit your CV and cover letter for the initial stage of their application process. The majority of firms, however, will also require applicants to complete a series of tests. These tests allow firms to assess candidates against their core values and desired skill sets for the divisions they apply to. They also act as a way for firms to rank and differentiate the many applications they receive. These tests are often a mixture of numerical and verbal reasoning-based questions and can be difficult to get used to, so we highly recommend that you get some practice in before starting your applications. At some firms, these tests are bundled together and delivered in the form of a job simulator, based on various tasks employees may encounter. HSBC and Barclays UK are some examples of firms which use this method, with Barclays using their Business Insight simulation alongside a CV submission to decide which applicants receive offers for their Spring Week program. Upon completion of this stage in the application process, firms may choose to narrow down the pool of applicants based solely on their CV, cover letter, and/or test results. Not all will receive invitations to interview. These interviews are typically conducted via video, but can also happen over the phone as well as in person. In most cases, applicants are required to answer or film their responses to a mixture of technical and behavioral/motivational based questions. Whether face-to-face, on the phone, or via video, applicants should expect that those reviewing their answers are on the lookout for examples of ways they demonstrate or have demonstrated some of the firm's core values, alongside a whole host of other indicators like commercial awareness. Remember to smile, have a glass of water with you, and prepare accordingly. If you want a video specifically covering interviews or anything we've mentioned so far, be sure to leave a comment down below. As with CVs, cover letters, and tests, firms will also use interviews as another opportunity to further reduce the pool of applicants to select from. After this stage, most Spring Week applicants are expected to wait to hear back about if they've secured an offer or not. In some cases, applicants will be called to do an assessment center post-interview before finding out whether or not they are successful in gaining a place. Spring Week programs normally fall under or are made up of a mixture of the following categories: generalist, division-specific, and/or diversity-focused. Generalist spring internships aim to give interns an overview of multiple divisions across the week through overview presentations, case studies, and group projects. Students who attend a division-specific insight can expect to get tailored talks, bespoke work shadowing experiences, and of course division-specific projects like a stock pitch or trade idea for those interning as part of the markets division. Interns in general are also normally assigned a buddy, typically a junior employee, to listen and help them with any questions. Diversity-focused Spring Weeks are aimed at improving diversity of thought as well as talent. Firms will have Spring Weeks tailored specifically for those who don't study finance at university, or Spring Weeks centered on recruiting more female talent, like Blackstone's Future Women Leaders Program or JP Morgan's Non-Finance for Finance Spring Internship. Now, before we go, here are our final tips. Practice, practice, practice. Practice answering interview-style questions in front of the mirror or with a friend, and avoid solely memorizing answers or setting up scripts to read word for word from. Go through your CV and practice confidently speaking about yourself, your hobbies, and your interests, as well as your experiences. Be ready to give clear examples of the role you played as part of a team, what exactly you learned from that part-time job you had, or what skills you developed whilst in your leadership positions. Learning how to confidently speak about yourself and your experiences is a key part to doing well in any interview, and practicing can help you improve. It's very important that you also practice those psychometric tests. Research. Research means spending time reading the news so that you're aware of what's going on in the world and the sector of the firm you're applying to. You do not want to get asked the question, "So tell me about a news story you've read recently," and not already have some sort of answer prepared to that question. If you follow things well in advance of your interviews, it'll be more natural for you to talk about the news story and you'll be much more relaxed. One of our tips is filling your social media with different news outlets, specifically those which are finance related. Every now and then you might see an interesting chart while scrolling through Instagram, or a headline on Twitter whilst on your way to an interview, which could end up making a difference. Research also means networking. Don't be afraid to ask for help, even if at first you get no response. Reach out to people in the year above at university, or those on LinkedIn you know have completed Spring Weeks. It may not always be a success, but definitely try asking for help. And finally, don't forget to breathe. It's true, the application process from start to finish can be stressful. Rejections are also part of the process, so don't get too down. Spring Weeks are about you learning as much as you can about the firm, as well as the firm learning about you. So don't forget to try and enjoy it all. Take a short break if you need, stagger your applications, and be open-minded to all sorts of firms, divisions, and roles. And there you have it. Spring Weeks, what they are, why they're important, and some top tips both at the end and throughout the video on how to do your best whilst applying. If you've enjoyed the video, help us out by sharing it to a friend. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment down below with any suggestions and questions you may have about anything we've mentioned in this video. Until next time.